Hello. Angel signs. Now, the angels are talking to us 24/7. They're always talking to us. My name's Barbara Burgess. I'm a psychic medium and I give angel readings and guardian angel readings. Now, angel signs, as I said, the angels are always communicating us 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. But the thing is, we do not know, or many of us do not know, how they are communicating with us. We are earthly beings. We have this physical body, this tangible body. Our spirit is within this body. But the angels are spirit only. And the angels communicate in various ways. They communicate with us telepathically and by placing pictures inside our minds. So they do not communicate as I am chatting away to you here. That's not the way of the angels. Excuse me, I might sneeze. Oh dear, I don't know why, but I'm always sneezing. So I want to tell you about the ways in which the angels communicate with us. Now, one of the very common ways is by leaving feathers around. Now, you might see a feather on the ground and think, oh, well, a pigeon's dropped that feather. But what really happens is the angels encourage the birds to drop a feather where they know we humans will see it. So that's what happens. Yes, it is an angel feather. It is a bird's feather, but the angels have encouraged the birds to drop their feathers. Now, I want to tell you, many years ago, I read a book called Living in Two Worlds. And while I was reading it, on the front cover, the Living in Two Worlds is about a medium, and she believes she lives in two worlds, this world on the earth plane and the spirit world, all at the same time. And that's how I see it as well. But on the front cover of this book was a picture of a swan. I think there are several copies of this book, and I did find one because I lost that book or I gave it away, I can't remember what. But I found one on Amazon that got the picture of the swan on the front. And while I was reading that book, I actually saw, with my mind's eye, a feather, and it fell from the ceiling. It floated down. It started about a foot from the ceiling, and it just floated down in front of me, and it disappeared about a foot from the ground. I saw it in my mind's eye, but I also saw it for real. It was quite a big feather, so like that, and it began, as I say, a foot from the ceiling, and it just floated down in front of me, and it landed a foot, or it stopped. I stopped being able to see it a foot from the ground, and this I took as a sign that the author of that book, who I cannot remember her name, no, I can't remember. I took it as a sign that she was watching me read her book. Now, isn't that fantastic? But anyway, so when you're out and about, you might see feathers. And this is a sign that the angels are with you, watching over you, listening to your prayers and your hopes, your dreams. And they're letting you know that they are around and that they've heard your prayers. Now, I want to tell you a little story, and that is, this was told to me actually. These two young girls were going to London. One of them used to go to the Spiritualist Church a great deal, and the other one was a total non-believer. And they went to London on a day trip one of the girls had a mini car. So they went to London on a day trip in this mini car. And throughout the day, they were talking about spiritual stuff. And the young girl who went to the Spiritualist Church was trying to tell her friend all about spirit and the angels and things like that. And as they got near the car, the non-believer said, you know, I just do not get this. I'll never understand it. If you can prove to me that angels exist, then I will believe you. And when they got back to the car 2 minutes later, they found the car was full of feathers. It was full of white feathers. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, I've had some absolutely gorgeous experiences with feathers. I've been out for walks with my dog, and on the path, I've seen feathers at 1 metre intervals along my path ahead of me. And also, when my dog was poorly, I had to take her to the vet, and before I took her to the vet, I let her out in the garden to the toilet, and there were feathers, only 2 or 3 feathers on the lawn, and I just knew it was a sign from the angels that she would be okay. And then we got to the vet gave her medication, and I came home and I opened the car door, and just by the car was another feather. And as I let her out of the car, she was on a lead, and I let her out, and a feather dropped down from the sky and it landed on her fur and it stuck to her fur. And I thought that was absolutely amazing as well. That was a message from the angels that she would be all right, and she was. She made a full recovery. So isn't that lovely? So do look out for feathers. They are signs from angels. And I've seen all colours of feathers. I've seen orange, pink. I used to keep a jar full of them, but we've moved house, and I parted with a lot of stuff because we downsized and I couldn't find anywhere to put my jar of feathers, but I've started collecting them again. But you can find all sorts. You know, I see pretty feathers from ducks which have got various colours on them. I've seen orange ones, as I say, yellow ones. I even saw a great big emu feather. Now that was by the side of the road, and I thought, where on earth, where I live, where on earth would an emu feather come from? You know, very, I was going to say feathery, but it's not a bit like a bird's feather. It's got lots of little tiny bits going up it, and it was curved over. Well, then, a few days later, I took my dog down this public footpath, and lo and behold, someone had got a little private zoo in their back garden, and they'd got emus in the back garden, so that's where the feather had come from. That was very strange. So do look out for feathers. They are signs from angels that your angels are around you. Now, another sign will be coins. You may see them on the pavement, in the road, you know, in the shopping mall, anywhere. Wherever you see a coin, can be any denomination, that's another sign that the angels are around you. Now, some people feel embarrassed about picking a penny up off of the ground, but I used to pick them up, and then when I got quite a few, I'd put them in a charity box. But now I just keep them. Occasionally I'll put them in a charity box, but I keep them because they're little messages from the angels. They're little signs from the angels. Okay, and another sign that you may notice, and I was talking to people about this, is pebbles. You might see a pretty shiny pebble. Now, my children used to swim, and we used to go early morning training and evening training. And once I was waiting in the queue to buy a coffee, and on the little shelf where you put your tray and you pull your tray along, there was a tiny little rose quartz. And I instinctively thought someone had put it there and forgotten about it. But anyway, you know, I picked it up, put it in my pocket. I thought, no, that is from the angels. That's a little crystal, a little stone, a little pebble from the angels. So anywhere you go and you see a stone or a pebble that catches your eye, then that is a message from the angels. A lot of people, when they go to a beauty spot, they'll pick a tiny little pebble up and take it home. I do think on the beach, I don't think you're allowed to take pebbles home. I think it's illegal, but I might be wrong. Right, other signs from angels. Hearing songs inside your head. When my auntie she was extremely poorly, and we knew it was the end of her life coming along. And the last week before she passed away, I had the song Going Home inside my head for a whole week, and I just knew that that was a sign that she was going to pass over to the spirit world shortly. I don't know all the words to the song, but the words that did come to my mind was "Father's there expecting me, mother's waiting too." So that was a message from the angels regarding my auntie. And then when my mother died, the following day or shortly afterwards, I got the song, what is it called? Freedom. I can't think what it is now. What is it? Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Feeling good, I think it's called. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Da, 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 da. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. So those words, you know, my mum believed that she was going somewhere new. She said she'd been on a journey for the whole of her life. She was 93. She'd been on a journey in this life, and she said she was going on another journey. In fact, she actually said, "Oh no, I'm going on another journey," another long journey. That's what she said just before she passed away. And so that song, A New Life for Me, I think it's called Feeling Good. You might find it on YouTube, or you probably will find it on YouTube. So that was a message from the angels regarding my mother. So you might hear a song out loud, you know, turn the radio on, car radio on, you might be passing somewhere or might be in a supermarket, and you hear a song, and you might think, oh, that reminds me of somebody, or that is an answer to my problems. Or you might just get the song inside your head, repeated inside your head. Long time ago now, I was going through a bad patch, and I got a song, again I can't remember what it was, but words to the effect that everything's going to be fine, and I took that to be a message from the angels. Now, other ways that angels get in touch with us are by words. You might see a headline on the news, in the newspaper. Sometimes I've turned my computer on and gone onto Facebook, and the very first words that are splashed out on Facebook are a message. Again, it might be, I might be going through a bad patch, and it might be, the message might be, the angels are always with you, or everything's going to be fine. And the same with, say, text messages from anybody. It can be from a friend, it can be from a nobody, from someone trying to sell you something. And the same with email messages. So these words, they seem to shoot out at you, and they're answers to your prayers. Another thing is insects that act in a strange way. So a butterfly that you see on a cold winter's day, and you think, oh my goodness, you know, that butterfly shouldn't be out, it should be hibernating. That also is a message from the angels. And bumblebees, insects, ants, anything like that. Birds. Now, again, this was told to me. My mother told me this story. She said her friend's husband had died, and her friend said to my mother, this friend said to my mother that when she opened the door the following day, she'd got a tall pine tree in the front garden by the front door, and there was a blackbird sitting up there, and she said it was singing its little heart out. And she said it was often there, and she just knew it was a message to say that her husband was fine. But this lady told my mother, and my mother agreed, and my mother mentioned it to me, but this lady had also told some of her friends, and her friends had said, you know, how can that be? So they poo-pooed the idea. So there we have the numerous ways that angels get in touch with us, but there are many, many other ways. If you see beautiful sign in nature, you know, beautiful sunrise, sunset, rainbow, beautiful flowers, anything like that. I've seen, when I was walking my dog, I saw a tiny little flower had popped its head up between some paving slabs. So all around was grey paving slabs, and this tiny little flower had popped its little head up, and I just said, hello, little flower. So anything and everything, if you think it's a sign from the angels, then it will be a sign from the angels. And the more you notice these signs, then the more you will receive them. Another thing I can think of is I was with my younger daughter, we were going for a walk, and this horse, we walk in a public footpath between a field and a golf course, and this horse just came strolling up to us from nowhere, almost like a ghost. It really was like a ghost. And this horse was a grey spotted. I've never ever seen a horse that colour or that beautiful. It really was. And as I say, it appeared from nowhere, just like a ghost, and it just had its head over the fence. My daughter stroked it. I didn't, because I'm frightened of horses. As I'm doing this video, I'm looking out my window and there are 2 yellow butterflies fluttering about, and it's, whether it's raining or not, I don't know, but it certainly has been raining, but so it's not the weather when you would expect butterflies. But this horse, as I say, was absolutely the most beautiful horse I'd ever seen. Very, very tall. And another thing, a friend of mine was trying to write a book, and they really didn't know how to get started. And they pondered and you know, got stuck. They didn't know how to get started so much that they'd actually not started, they hadn't even started the title of the book. And this person just happened to be wandering around the town and saw the bookshop Waterstones, and thought, oh well, they'd been to the library actually to do some research for their book, but hadn't got very far. So they wandered round the town looking for a coffee shop and saw Waterstones, and they went inside, and right slap bang in front of them was the ideal book on how to write your book. And this person bought that book, and they instinctively knew that Spirit or the angels had sent them that way that day. So that is amazing. I'm sure many of you who are watching this video will have had happenings like that. So do keep looking out for signs of angels. They're all around us all the time, and they just love to work with us. Bye for now.